everybody, welcome back to another episode of More Than the Title. I'm your host as usual, Jarrett Thomas, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Chadeo. What's good, baby?
In the building, man. I'm feeling better. My voice done came back just a little bit. I'm not 100%, but it was like death on Tuesday, man. Tried to take the other podcast, tried to take us out, man.
Yeah, he had the quiet storm voice, the Leon Green.
It's crazy. I just met Mr. Lenny Green too. I definitely had the Lenny Green voice. I had the Barry Manilow.
Well, we went through it, man. Shout out to everybody who showed love on the fan appreciation episode on Tuesday. We had a great episode about substance abuse, mental health, a lot of issues that are really affecting the community. And thank you to everybody who came in. And shout out to EA, our brother, who came in, talks about a lot of the stuff he was dealing with recovery and things like that. So that was real. And before we get into this episode, man, shout out to y'all, the followers, the listeners, the supporters. We're growing and glowing every week across every platform. It's because of y'all, man. We just had our biggest month on YouTube, 100,000 in a month. We also had our walkthrough do over 300,000 on Instagram, and it's because of y'all support. So we really, truly appreciate y'all. And for first-time listeners, if you're here for the first time, More Than the Title is not a clickbait show. We're all about having our best and brightest come on and share their experience, because everybody here who's listening, everybody's been on the show is more than a title. We all have a story. We've all been through the journey. We've all overcome obstacles, and that's what this is here for. To tell the real story, to tell your truth, and give you a safe place to, to share your story. And this is what we do it for, to give it back to the community so we all win together and learn. That's what this is about.
And,
you know what I'm saying?
It's three words we use to describe everything that my
Let them know.
Said. Impact over metrics. That's it.
That's it, baby. That's it. That's why we ain't clickbait, man. And also, lastly, before we begin, shout out to our distribution partners, the Live Podcast Network. I know what's up. We about to put it up. You know what I mean? It's the first woman-owned, Black-owned podcast network in the U.S. And if you want more content from Black creators such as More Than the Title, make sure you download the app and support your favorite creators. Shout out to Angel and the team. They also were finalists for the best tech app.
Yep.
In the U.S. So we're the finalists. We don't know. We didn't get word yet if we won, but we let y'all know on next week's episode. Shout out to Angel. You already know the vibes.
I gotta call her.
We gotta call her. But with that said, I'm excited.
Let's start the show.
We got the V. This is our first Women's Month episode, and we are setting it off with a bang. We're gonna have a great episode. This queen has extensive leadership and experience in information technology, and now shifting her professional career to the music industry, where she's focused on technology and business management. She's the founder and CEO of a music competition platform, Who's Got Next, which will help more artists get discovered, retain the services and exposure they actually need, while maintaining creative control and equity, y'all. And she's also the CEO of Cephas Business Consulting, where she consults brands on technology and business operations. Let's welcome our first guest on More Than the Title for Women's Month, Miss Latabia Woodward, a.k.a. Mama Set. How are you, baby? Mama.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Latabia Woodward. I am the founder and CEO of Who's Got Next Music, as you stated, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, man, it's an honor and a pleasure, Queen. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be honest with you. When we put the flyer out, right? Everybody was like, "You got Mama Set coming out." They first of all, Instagram, you can't see it right now, but Instagram is already going crazy. They're like, "Oh man, Mama Set coming on the show." They've been waiting for this interview right here, so we know it's gonna be a banger.
And like we talked about behind the screen, you know what I'm saying? So it's more than that. We've also had like people like Dr. Knowles on and a lot of other individuals successful. And we want to know who you, the person, right? Because you had to sacrifice for your family. You had to go through a lot of, turbulent times in your life, right? Being a mother, right? And that's what we want to really understand and give our listeners of the journey, right? Of who you were to who you are today. So if you want to, I would love to know, what was life like before success? What was Latabia's life like in North Carolina?
So when I was in North Carolina, it was a struggle. I had two young kids. I had two kids while I was young. So I had two kids before I was 20 years old. Wow. So when I went to college, or went back to college, I had kids with me. And that was a different experience, from most everyone else. Sometimes I had to take one of my kids to class with me. If I couldn't get him to daycare on time, he just had to go with me. and sit in and deal with that. I worked 3 jobs to take care of them while I was in college. Um, it was it was a struggle, but there was a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Message.
I had goals to meet because I was determined that I was not going to be just another statistic. You know, teenage pregnancy was pretty common where I was, and I had a strong village. My mom was my #1 cheerleader, and she told me, she said, you know what? I don't care how many kids you have. You're graduating from college. You're going to have a career, because she didn't want me to struggle like my parents did. Both of them were manufacturers, worked really that hard, back and work, and so she didn't want me to have that type of life. And so, even though I didn't really know anybody that had graduated from college and had a successful career, that I could really lean in and ask, that was around me, I went for it, and I'm glad I did. And I had some incredible opportunities while I was in college. I pledged Delta while I was in college. I had an opportunity to work under the Clinton administration for a program called Welfare to Work, where I actually taught women who were in the projects how to acquire business skills, like regular office admin skills, so they could get a job. And it was actually some pretty decent money while I was in college. I had a real estate agent who was a powerhouse in Greenville, North Carolina, still today. Her name is Dee Dee Carney. She gave me a chance to be able to work flex hours, to be able to do all of her tech support, on all of her tech in her office. I did presentations for her for people who were moving from out of state. So I learned a lot from her, but she gave me the opportunity to be able to work around my kids and my schedule, which was a blessing. And then finally, I worked for Wells Fargo. They were Wachovia at the time, and I did my internship with them. So I got a little bit of experience with corporate and what corporate was going to be like. So starting out in Greenville, North Carolina, it was rough, but we made it. The day after I graduated from college, I had a job waiting on me, and I came to Atlanta. That was the tech bubble at the time.
On the day you graduated.
The day after I graduated, I got in my little raggedy car and drove down here. I had a cousin, actually 2 cousins who were living here, and I came to live with one of my cousins until I could find a place here. We ended up moving to College Park, Godby Road, and folks who are here know it was a rough area, but I made some mistakes in college with my credit. So my credit was bad, even though I had good money with the job that I was making. My first career job, I couldn't get a place. So that's one of the things that I hope and pray that we as a community get together, is learn financial literacy early, so you don't make those types of mistakes, because your money can only take you so far. In certain situations, you actually need credit.
Message.
Oh,
Message.
as the baby screaming message.
Wait,
Necessary.
stop there, Mama, because let me tell you something. We have exhaustively talked about the impact of going to school and not understanding financial literacy. And one of the first things that colleges do is give young kids that are broke with no financial education a credit card. How many times have we talked about that, Jarrett? Right?
Wow.
Right? Because we feel like it's a double-edged sword, right? Yes, you're getting a great education, but at what is the cost of this education, right? Not only are you out of school with enormous school debt that you owe to the school, right? And this is just, again, a regular degree, not a doctorate or anything like that, but also and it's now enormous credit card debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, like we talked about, when you do get a job, even if it's a decent job, you can't live well. You almost have to live at home with your parents or a roommate, because your overhead, your debt, your income to debt ratio is so upside down, right? That it's like it takes you so many years to climb out that it's almost impossible. You know what I mean? So I'm glad she said that. I'm glad she brought light to that, because a lot of people really don't understand that, right? You can have money, you can have a great job, but like she said, in today's society, if you want to apply for an apartment, anything that you want in your name, that you want to show independence with, one of the first things they do is run your credit.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of that now. My husband and I own a Woodward Property Group, which is a home renovations business,
Okay.
and we do property management. So what do we do when people apply? We run their credit to see if they can pay that rent. So I understand it now as a business person and someone who lived it. You
Yeah.
know, we lived in Old Town Villas, and across the street in the gated community, they had a nice landscaping over there. Everything looked so good. It's like paradise was across the street, and I couldn't get in. So
That's disrespectful right there.
it was, because it's like I can afford it according to my paycheck, but they were like,
Right.
based on your track record, though, no. So
That's
that was a
real.
really hard lesson to learn, but it was one that I learned the first time, which was great. And I just really had some God really aligned people in my life. My property manager at Old Town Villa knew that I wanted to buy a house, so he allowed me to be able to I split my rent up so that I could be able to pay it on time every time, and get my rental history great. And they were using that as part of building my credit up, because I was working with someone in the mortgage industry at the time. They were a broker, and they were trying to help me clean up everything. So I needed to be able to show a track record of doing something, and that was my biggest bill. And you know, that person really helped me to be able to start getting things together. And that was one of my first lessons here. My cousin, and then people that weren't necessarily even in my family here in Atlanta, your village matters. The people you surround yourself with matter. And
Absolutely.
I saw that people, if you are trying to help yourself, the people that you need will come in your space, and you will have, you'll get everything that you're supposed to have, because
Ooh,
it
you're
will
going
all
off.
allow. Yeah.
Nah, that's so real. That's so. And what made you? But also another point I didn't want to go over too fast is the tenacity that you have to still go through college, which you have in the kids, right? That could have been a cop out, right? It could have been a way or easy way for you to be like, look, what I'm doing, I'm still figuring things out. I don't have a babysitter on Tuesday. I'm gonna chill in the crib, do something. I'm gonna figure. Like, you still going through that, right? So like, I definitely want to commend you for that, because there's a lot of women today going through that same scenario that don't know what is possible if you just keep on going. So that's just real.
No, you have to really push for it. It wasn't easy. I remember the apartment that I got in Greenville, with the kids. The people didn't want to rent me the apartment. It wasn't anything that I did or anything like that. It was just like I was young with two kids, and they didn't want to take the risk. So that was really what it was about. I mean, I met all the requirements and everything, but they didn't want to rent me the apartment. And they did it anyway. They did it anyway. They gave me a chance. The apartment was close to campus, so that if my car broke down, I would be able to walk to school. But it was pushing, even when people say no to you, finding a way to get them to say yes. And I taught my children that, a no is a no right now. You figure out how to make it a yes. So, you
That's it.
figure out how to get to where you're going. You can't let people stand in your way. You can't let people, what I would say, or what I in my family would say, is slow time you, where they kind of drag you along and they don't really want to do it. Nope, find your way. If there's not a way, make a way. And having, like I said, a good support system around me helped me tremendously. I can't say that enough. My sorority sisters, my mom, my dad, folks that would step in and help me where they could. But at the end of the day, it was on me, because I was a single mom with two kids, and they had to eat, they had to be able to get to school, they had to be able to have clothes and shoes on their feet. I mean, it was up to me. And no matter what was happening, in my life or anything, I still had to look in their faces every day and make sure that they have what they needed. So
that's real.
I'm not. A lot of times, because we live through, a lot of us have the same story. We were raised by single parents and things of that nature. So a lot of times, we use the analogy, like, you can't teach a fish about water. You don't understand because you just kind of live in an environment, right? But I don't feel like we actually give a lot of these mothers credit, right? Because like you said, to be a young mother is one thing, of one child, to be a young mother of two children, and still you could have easily took the government route. I'm gonna let the government take care of me and things of that nature. You understand? Your aspirations could have been cut short, and like Jarrett said, you could have used any one of those excuses not to further yourself, education-wise, economically, anything. But you said, "Nah, I'm gonna put this motherfucker on the hip." Put the baby, strap it to the chest, and we going right. And and the funny thing about it is, when I was in high school, and it was a teen mom, right? It was a teen mom, and we didn't know she was pregnant until like the last minute, and we thought she was going to drop out. And she actually came to school a lot with her child, and I was surprised that the school actually let her bring the child to the school. But she was like, they said, listen, as long as you can manage the child, like as long as the child is not like super disruptive, and they let her, and she brought the child to school, and she kept going, and she graduated. Now, it would have been very easy for her to drop out and just go into the GED program and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So I want to commend moms that don't give up, right? It doesn't matter what the circumstance of how you had the child. We don't care about that. The only thing we care about is the child is here now, and the child is the main responsibility. They didn't ask to be here, so now you got to take it upon yourself to be that adult, right? And to put their needs above yours and do what you got to do for bringing them into this world. So I just want to say shout out to all the moms that persevere.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man.
There's so many ways we could go now, because that was real. It's like so many different ways. Do we want to go there? Do we want to go there?
But I'm curious. I got a question that I like to ask all the time, right? So you're into music and entertainment and business now, but I'm just curious, what did you actually study while you was in school? Because that's another conversation that we love to have. What was your field of study while you were actually in college?
So I have a business degree with a concentration in management information systems, which is an IT degree.
IT, okay.
My background is IT. I still do a lot of technology. I absolutely love it. My career, I early retired from a career in IT. And I had a really great journey. Honestly, I really did. Probably one of the toughest times in my life is when I went through a layoff, which is not really uncommon in the tech world. So as you know, it's going on now. I'm not really tripping about it because one of the things that we have to do in that field is adapt. We always have to adapt. There's always new tech coming. I mean, in '94 is when people started using email every day. And I remember that, I remember that time. So it was just, you have to adapt. And it has been an incredible, incredible run. I started at Genuine Parts Company. They own Napa Auto Parts.
Yeah.
I was doing tech support with mechanics over the phone. So can you imagine a person who's not technical at all? They just want to fix the car, right? They just want to order their parts. So I'm on the phone because it wasn't working. And our job was to get it fixed so that they didn't have to ship the whole computer back to us. And if they shipped the whole computer back to us, then that was a problem. So I'm getting it right because nobody's shipping a computer back on my watch. So it was tough, but it taught me a really good skill, and that is the customer perspective, right? So when you are trying to sell something to somebody, you need to put yourself in their shoes and understand their perspective and make sure that what you're selling to them is actually what you're delivering. What you're saying and you're selling is what you're delivering, and making sure that they get what they
message.
You hit it with the slow message. That
was a slow one. I'm sorry, but that's important right there. We cannot go past that. Cannot go past that.
Yeah, that was a tough job. But a year into that job, I got called from my recruiter, and she said, "Hey, there's this company that's doing this big hiring push, and they said name your salary." Now, mind you, I'm in my first corporate job. I have no idea about salary negotiations or anything. I'm asking the recruiter, I was like, "How much should I ask for?" She's like, "Legally, I can't tell you what to ask for. What do you want?" So I was like, "Okay, well, what about if I double my salary of what I'm making right now? And then if they say no, do you think I'll get a chance to come back?" She was like, "Well, we'll see." She goes back in an hour later. They're like, "Yes." So that let me know that I lowballed myself. It was my first corporate lesson learned, is that do your research. Like if they're pressing and they're calling you, do your research and find out, what the possibilities are, and then ask questions. I should have given a range, and I should have gone way, made that range very broad, so that they can say yes or no. And then because they were looking to hire so quickly, and I had the skills they were looking for, they came looking for me. I would have been in a much better position had I gone back and forth to negotiate with them, but I didn't know any better at the time. So trust that never happened again.
Yeah, but sometimes too, Mama Love, is that like the opportunity, it comes to us so quickly, and we're so happy and excited for the opportunity, and it's hard to identify what your market value is, right? Especially at that time. It's hard to identify it today. You know what I mean? Today, as a brand or anything like that, what is your market value, your NIL, if you're an athlete, things like that? That's very difficult.
Yeah. It is, but if you pause and you do your research, you at least do your due diligence before you provide an answer. Because if it's meant for you, it's going to be there for you. And I learned from then forward that I needed to negotiate my salary. The opportunity to negotiate my salary came around 2 other times in my career, and I got what I asked for, because I knew at that point that I didn't just have to jump at the first chance. And that's also something in the music business. Our artists that are so talented, trust me, people are watching, and if you get so blessed to have a label to come to you and say, hey, I want to sign you, you need to do your due diligence, because you have something that they want. And yes, there are plenty of other talented artists, but they didn't ask them, they asked you. So if they're asking you, do your research, get you a lawyer before you sign anything, and make sure that the benefit is mutual, right? So yeah, it is always good to do your due diligence, period.
Message.
As speaking to artists, because we're artists too, so like, say for instance, any artist that's listening right now, what kind of due diligence would they require, and what kind of information would they need to make sure they're best equipped for that conversation? Are they just thinking about their impressions, their downloads? Like, what are some of those things that they should look out for?
Well, if you are someone if someone's approaching you about signing you.
Yeah, exactly. Something like a label, RCA, whatever label,
If someone's trying to sign you, things that you want to find out is, what are your deal terms? What are the commitments that you're signing up for? And if they're providing you with an advance, what are the terms of paying that advance back? Understanding that that's a loan. It is not a gift to you. Are you structured properly to be able to go into business with a label? Because if you're not if you don't have your business structured together, then you're not even ready to do so. Secondly, if anybody's putting any type of paperwork in front of you and telling you that you need to sign, you need to have your own representation. Do not sign a label with a legal waiver, an attorney waiver, and use their attorney. That's a conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest,
If you can't afford to retain a lawyer for a long period of time, find an entertainment lawyer that will review a contract for you for a fee, a flat fee. They exist. You might have to do some cold calling to figure it out, but you get that done. And if the opportunity is going to go away because you need to take a few days to be able to get an attorney to look that contract over, it's a red flag.
Yeah,
right?
It wasn't for you.
It wasn't for you. Yeah. And I know some of us are in desperate situations. We want to, we want that money. We want to be able to get out of the situation that we're in, but you do not want to jump out of the frying pan into the fire, because you can have a long term.
No, you talking? We in the third period now. Third period.
Let me tell you something. A lot of artists, they're the hottest when they first come out, right? Yep. And if you don't own your IP, and your career then somehow becomes over, and the label owns your IP, they're still making money off of your music, but not you, because you signed it all away because you didn't know any better, right? And you think about and a lot of people are like, well, the IP isn't worth anything in the beginning. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. But at the end of the day, that catalog belongs to someone who can maximize it in more than one way. They can be sync licensing, on other things than just, playing your song on the radio. They can sync license it to a movie or a commercial or just elevator music. They can reuse your music however they want because they own it, right?
Absolutely.
And I know that I'm still listening to music from my parents' era that still play in some restaurant when I'm sitting down, so the music never dies. It could be revived, it could be reused. We know about sampling. We know about sampling because the music from my time is being sampled right now. So So,
Yeah.
so no, it may not be worth that much right now. And you signing it over may be the best thing for you to do at that time. It may seem, but when is your reversion period? Like, when do you get it back?
Yeah.
Message.
The kind of questions you need to be asking, and you need to make sure that it's something that's attainable to you. Why do you need to sign a 5 and 7 year deal with somebody that you've never done business with before? Can you do a 2 year deal and take less money to make sure that it's going to work, and that you're not in something that you can't get out of ever in life, and you're put on the shelf and can never sign to anybody else because you haven't finished your previous commitments. You want to make sure that you are in a position of power. And so one of the things about Who's Got Next Music is helping independent artists be able to earn money now so that they're not desperate if they're presented with a contract. I am not anti-label. I think label relationships can be very good for you as long as you're in the driver's seat of your career.
If structured correctly. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was gonna say too, because I was just watching, I don't know if you saw this movie, Mama, but Air. So if anybody hasn't seen Air, it's about the story of Michael Jordan and the negotiations between Nike, right? And one of the main things, all the different brands, you gotta see it. Like, you remind me of Mama Jordan. I'm not gonna lie to you. So it's mad funny. So basically all the big brands, Converse, all the big brands go. And Nike went to Jordan, and the mama was saying, look, I will sign with this brand that doesn't really have the brand equity like Converse or some of the other deals that we have on the table, Adidas. But if you give us the equity, you know what I mean, then we'll sign off. And then it made them $1 billion family. It made Nike billions of dollars, right? And it was just that one negotiation clause in that contract. So I'm curious, because you're definitely very business savvy, right? Was it something like that you helped along the way that you look back and was like, oh man, I'm glad we brought that to the table?
I wish that I could say yes to that. In the beginning, I wasn't, a part of my son's career, so I can't take any credit for any of that stuff that he did in the beginning with his group. So I can't say yes to that.
Okay, cool. No, that's still, I just thought about that. Like is it something like that happened? Because that's really cool. Or what is there, when you did get involved, is there a lesson that you've learned, or what lesson would you share for somebody that is involved like that? What was one lesson you was like, oh, okay, this is how they conduct business?
Well, I had to go through an education period because my background is IT. I had to learn the music business from asking a whole bunch of questions. And a lot of times people don't necessarily want you asking a whole bunch of questions, right? They don't want you to necessarily understand how things work, because if you don't like how they work, then you start asking them for changes, and that can lead to some tensions. But what I did do is I learned how the business works. I learned about the different opportunities that exist with music and with labels and relationships in the music industry, which are vast. But it's a very small community actually, but it is a lot of opportunity there. So I learned a ton about branding, and his agency, UTA. Learned a lot about what agencies can do beyond helping to book you at festivals. They can do a whole lot of other things too. So if anything, I would say when artists if they are, whether they're independent or if they're signed, explore everything. Ask a lot of questions. Make sure that you are getting every opportunity that is available to you. Don't squander your time. Get focused. If you see somebody else is doing something and you're interested in doing it, ask how it happened. Understand how the business took place so that you can be in a position to be able to participate in that same way. Don't covet what other people have going on. You'd be like, oh, well, I deserve to have that too. I'm not saying that. But if you're interested in how someone got to where they are, ask questions and make sure that the team around you sees that you're interested in being more than one thing, and that they support you in that. And you want to have those conversations before you sign anything anyway. Because if they really just want you doing one thing, that's all they're going to really have you doing. But if you let them know up front, hey, I'm interested in this thing over here. I'm into gaming. I'm into fashion. I'm into all these various things. Then that gives them a better way of how they can market you, right? Because at the end of the day, you're their product.
Absolutely.
So you want to make sure that you maximize your opportunities in the music space. Don't have tunnel vision, and the opportunities keep coming, right? Now you have AI. I know it's a very controversial thing, but I am a huge supporter of it. I think that our independent artists can do a ton with it. If you can't afford a graphic designer, you don't have to now, right? You can actually prompt it and get some graphics yourself. And if you need to design some album covers for your or singles covers, you can do that. If you want to build content on your channels, you have an opportunity to do that and not have to, hire staff to do it for you. There are tons of things that you can start to do to kind of get yourself out there, build your brand, let people know that you're here, and gain more exposure for yourself so that you can progress in your career. So there, you don't have to wait until you're signed. Do it right now. Do all this.
Message.
Do it right now. Do it right now. That's so critical.
I don't know if you ever heard it, and I might get the name wrong, but back in the day when we wanted to first learn about music, there was this book that I think almost everybody that wanted to be in the music, but I think it was like All You Need to Know About Music.
Yeah, for Passerman.
Yeah. I promise you, like it came with a CD too, right?
Yes.
And we bought that and we studied that, right? And I think on the Wu-Tang documentary, when they were talking about it, I think RZA, one of them, said when he didn't know either, I think he bought the same book, and that book is like going down in history as like, one of the biggest like publications that help people. Just again, it doesn't teach you everything, but when you start to further your education, it does help you to identify concepts, right? Keywords and things of that nature. So when things are being said to you, even if you don't understand it fully, it gives you a better understanding. But guess what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what book you read, if you picked up a book or if you went to school. It only matters that you're taking the time to actually learn this thing yourself, right?
Yeah. Look, you have to invest in you. So if this is really what you want to do,
right,
you have to learn the business of what it is that you want to do.
Right.
And that I see that, there's so many opportunities because you have all this money passing through your hands. There's businesses that you can invest in. There's businesses that you can start. There are properties that you can buy. I mean, there's so many different ways for you to be able to set yourself up to be able to continue to earn that some that's dealing with music and some that's not, so that you are in a position where if you want to do music, you do, and if you don't, you don't. The production side of music and film is exploding. Like, it's and now that this sonar technology is coming out, I'm so curious as to how that's going to disrupt the film business, especially since Tyler Perry decided to put a halt on his $800 million expansion as a result of it. Yeah. So AI is real, and the opportunities there are real. I really would love to see us in the driver's seat of taking advantage of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of jobs are going to be lost, but it's really going to be who's going to be able to implement technology the best way and the most creative and effective way. Those are the ones that are going to rise to the cream of the crop, whether it's music, technology, filming, industry. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to lose my job. No, but if you learn the technology and how you can apply it to your job, to apply it to 3-4 other sectors of your job, then that's the smart way to use AI, because that's what it's all going to be about. How do we do more with less?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I mean, we've been here before, right?
That's it.
There's been so many tech revolutions, and people do lose their jobs when technology can replace what they're doing. Howsoever, their jobs created because there's new things that
exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the highest paying jobs right now is bot prompting. Like somebody just has to figure out the best way to ask a question. Really? And they're paying top dollar, $300,000 on the West Coast for that type of job. And you're just figuring out the best way to be able to get information out of a large language model. So, which I guess in simple terms for people is a tremendously large database. Yeah. So given that, we really as a people have an opportunity, because if anybody can figure out how to make something happen when there's a problem, it's us. We've had to do that. So I think that from an innovation side, there's plenty that we can do. If there's a problem that needs to be solved, then figure out how it can be done with technology. Even if you can't build it yourself, you don't even have to now, right? They have all these no-code solutions. And there's really inexpensive offshore labor that allows you to be able to take a little bit of money and build something, and then get some people to come behind you to invest in that to make it, something that is really bigger. So opportunity is there. We just have to take advantage of it.
Just gotta take it. But you said 300K for the West Coast for. I heard 300K. Mama Love, can you put that in the chat for our audience? We're gonna put that up. If anybody want to do the bot thing for 300K, I got my ass. I'm about to apply.
I promise you, it's happening.
Let's not jump the gun. Please be aware, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds good, but you got to be prepared to take that job, right? And they're not just giving away that kind of money just to give it away, right? So before you guys get too excited and be like, yo, I could do, please make sure that you actually have the qualifications for the job so that you don't embarrass yourself and get your hopes up. You understand what I'm saying? Like any job, you can get paid $300K to do millions of things, but they're not going to give that kind of money away unless you're qualified. So again, you just got to do your research. You know what I mean?
He burst somebody's bubble just now. I felt
I'm just saying, you know what it is though. You know what it is, Mama? Like back when we were growing up, they called it being a jack of all trades. Like I was raised under that. I was raised under that, right? Like being a jack of all trades. Like, so no, you don't master a lot of things in the moment, but what you do is you know enough to know that when you get information, if somebody's sincere, if somebody's jerking you around, right? So perfect example, right? Like a lot of women don't like to take their cars to the mechanics themselves, right? Because they feel like the mechanic. Like, no, I don't take the car. Let my husband take it. Like a lot of women have bad experiences because they don't understand the mechanics of the vehicle, and they always feel like the mechanics take advantage of them, right? But again, you don't have to learn how to build a car, but if you understood what a muffler is and what it does and this and that stuff, somebody says to you something that just absolutely doesn't make sense, right? You're going to look at them and go, you know what? Yeah, thank you, but have a nice day. And you just end up walking out, right? So again, it just takes you for you to learn just a little bit about the things that you're doing, enough so that if you have a conversation with somebody and they say something to you or you're seeking information, you can just tell if the information is genuine or if somebody's out actually trying to take advantage of you right off the back. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just very important to do that. So a lot of the things that we did, we just self-taught. I ain't gonna lie, like we self-taught a lot. When we wanted to learn something, we bought a book and we would just lock ourselves in the house and read the book and trial and error. And then if we needed more help, then we would seek out somebody that did what we're looking to learn, and then ask them and say, hey man, would you mind me sitting in or watching you or something like that, right? Until you kind of get a good grasp of it. You know what I mean?
And that's still a good concept and practice today. But you just shared is something that people can do. You may not have to go to a book per se anymore, even though I still love books. But you can actually go on LinkedIn and ask a real person that's in that area that you're of your interest and ask them a question. I mean, if they respond, great. If they don't, there's somebody else in that same industry you can ask. So that's why I say, now there's so much opportunity that abounds. You can DM somebody that you don't know and ask a question. There are events that you can go to. Many times they're free, at least in Atlanta. Atlanta is a magic place. You can go to all these different types of events and just be in the room and start meeting people to ask questions about something that you're interested in, showing up, to different things. And you're normally just 1 to 2 people removed from somebody that you need to know here. So it is the opportunities abound, but you got to do your homework. I certainly support the fact that you have to do your homework, in order to be able to take advantage of opportunities for sure. But you can't, you definitely can't wait for something to fall in your lap. You got to go for it. Just like you said that you went and found, like you were interested in something, you taught yourself something, because you went and got a book. I did the same thing. Like even a year ago even though AI has been around over 40 years, as a technologist, I knew that artificial intelligence has been around. It's just now becoming consumer ready, right? So when it came out a year ago, I jumped on it immediately. Why? Because I'm used to doing that in IT. It's like anything else. I carry two different types of phones, an iPhone and an Android. I have to know them both. Um, it's imperative for me to be the best at my career so that I can communicate with anybody, right? Um, so it is up to you. If you want to learn something, figure out how to get the information. There's free training online for a lot of things. Reach out to somebody and ask them if they would mentor you or ask a specific question of something that you want to know. And now you have a free chat box, Chat GPT. Ask them, and then or go to Perplexity where you can get sources to make sure that the answer that you get is true. So there's plenty of places for you to be able to learn so that you can grow and become whomever you want to be.
Message.
And I also, you touched on something too, Mama, is the LinkedIn. You know how many people don't utilize LinkedIn and how powerful that tool is. We talk about it all the time, so I won't go into the story too much. But that's how we got in a lot of rooms, right? And that's how we were able to do our stuff, right? Like LinkedIn was crazy. Like, so basically, I just was like, how am I not getting in rooms, and how am I not why am I sending 1,000 cold emails out every month to contacts to get 3 meetings, and out of those 3 meetings, I might get one that might be a potential buyer. And I'm like, look, so for me to get in those rooms, let me build my brand. Let me show you who I am. Let me tell you my story, how I got into tech, how I close these deals, how do we negotiate salary, how do we do all of those things, right? And what it made me do was it made me a person, it made me a brand, it made us more than a title. So when I go into these rooms, right, now they know who Jarrett is. When I go into these events, oh, Jarrett, I love your stuff, right? I used to have CMOs and VPs reach out to us like, hey, I got $70K budget, all because you've seen my content consistently. So whether you're an artist, a salesperson, anybody, you mentioned it earlier, it's the branding aspect. Build your audience, build your community, and the power of that. If you build your own audience, you can do anything. You can sell anything. You can interact in different ways that you don't need to go. You can go direct to consumer today. And matter of fact, I ain't gonna lie, that's a perfect segue.
We gotta pay some bills. We'll be right back.
I got a hoodie on right now.
I knew he was going to do it.
Courses, if you want to learn LinkedIn, I was giving it out for free. Like, so we're gonna leave that up there in 5, 4, 3. If you want to support, let's go. And we back to the show. Sorry, I
knew he was going in. That's why as soon as you did that, I grabbed my cup. I knew he was going. I knew he was going.
And we gotta get you. We're gonna get you one too.
You just told my business model. That's exactly what it is that I want artists to do. Is I want them to build their fan base so they can sell direct to consumer. Hey, deliver your music directly to your consumer exclusively, your fan base, right? And then distribute to the regular channels. Get your money up front. Don't wait 6 months or every 4 months to get a check that's going to be pennies. Get money from people who support you right now. Yeah. You want 1 million people?
I know we in 4th period now. You're going crazy.
You want 1 million people to stream your music, right? And then by the time you get that check, it's been 6 months before you get that check, and it's just pennies. And then, or you want to get 100 people that's willing to spend $20, $25 with you, and you get $2,500 in your pocket right now, and you repeat that over and over again, and you sell your merch, and you sell tickets to a show that you're going to do. You do those things right now. Don't wait till you're signed in order to make money. Make your own money right now.
That's it. You know who does that really well? I don't know if you're familiar, LaRussell.
LaRussell.
Yes, my God, he's amazing.
He's on a platform called Even right now. Even.biz is a direct-to-consumer music distribution platform. And Mag Rodriguez is a really cool guy who really understands artists. He understands the road that artists have to travel. And he actually developed a platform that allows them to be able to distribute their music on his platform exclusively. So you can't listen to it anywhere else until they distribute it on the other channels. It's not either or. So we have a similar business model. I'm using contests in order to help people build their fan base as they're going along first. And then they're, build that fan base up so that they can sell direct to consumer. So really cool guy. LaRussell he's killing it on Even on that platform. I absolutely love it. I'm
Yeah,
happy.
he also built up his own ticket system. It was like something like similar to Ticketmaster, where I went to a show out in Brooklyn. It was a pay to play model, or like pay what you want. Where so some customers might pay like $100, $200 for a ticket. I paid $10 for a ticket and got a hoodie for an additional $5, and it was one of the best shows I've been to in my life. I'm talking about he went off. He was rapping for 3 hours straight.
He knows how to pack a room, and he has a strategy on how to do so. So he's not going for the arenas. He's going for those small venues where he can actually sell it out, and then he can make his money right then and there, and then he can rinse and repeat. So and he doesn't owe anybody. That's the thing, right? He doesn't owe anybody. He gets to take his money. He pays the people that works for him, and then he gets to keep the rest.
Yeah.
You know.
So, shout out to him for creating a new model. He's like the independent model. Like he was doing shows right out the backyard of Mama Love crib, just crazy.
You know, again, devil's advocate, right? There's a lot of people that have done these type of independent models. You understand what I'm saying? Remember, Nip had a phenomenal independent model with the mixtape, and I'm not charging $5-10. I'm charging $100. You know what I mean? So remember,
brilliant marketing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Remember Chameleonaire. If you remember Chameleonaire, but remember his business model, how he actually, got his claim to, he was packing out shows and I'll sell out the stadium. You know what I mean? So again, there's a lot of, as a culture, we are so creative. I think a lot of us fall short is the trust factor, right? The trust factor, right? When you have an idea and you want to run it by somebody, normally you want to run it by somebody that is kind of going through something similar or has been through something similar. So you can say, yo, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? But I think that's where the disconnect happens a lot of time, because if you don't trust the person that you want to talk to, or you don't trust giving your idea to somebody, right? It can cause you to make a lot of mistakes, right? Because if you would have just asked somebody and said, hey, I was thinking about doing this, somebody could have possibly said, hey, you could do that, but make sure you don't do A, B, and C. You know what I mean? If you do A, B, and C, this will end up the worst decision of your life, right? I had a guy, fortunately, he listened, up and coming artist, and a label group approached him, started flying him out and things of that nature. And, yo, you're going to be down. And, I pulled him to the side one day in the barbershop. I said, listen, all that glimmers ain't gold. You understand what I'm saying? Like, just make sure that they don't try to get you to sign a 360. If they try to get you to sign that 360, run the other way. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're gonna give you all this money and do all this now, but all that shit is recoupable. Same thing you said, like, all that's recoupable. And because he respected that I was in the music industry for so long, he knew I know what I'm talking about. He didn't sign. And once, of course, when he didn't want to sign a 360, oh, okay, we're not gonna do it. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Because very bad.
Well, shout out to you for giving wise counsel. Yeah. Because the thing is, you want to ask somebody who has some experience or has some connection there, and you definitely want to have people that you trust. But you have a lot of gatekeepers too, I found. Yeah. So kudos to you for caring enough, to be able to say to him, hey, well, this great, the opportunity that's being presented to you, but look out for this and look out for that. We need more of that. We need more people that are doing what you're talking about doing, and that is looking out for somebody. I mean, it cost you absolutely zero.
Nothing.
You did. And just think about how you changed the trajectory of his life and what it could have been if it didn't work out. If it did work out, great. But that's a really big gamble.
It's a big if.
So, in many cases, that is not how things don't always turn out great, right? You have all these artists that are signed every year. Just look at any label, look at all the people that they sign. Absolutely. And then you see how many people actually make it. That number is even lower. So it's if someone's flying you out, that means that you're talented, of course. But that's not enough. Talent is not enough. I'm sorry, it's just not enough. You need wise counsel. You need people around you that you can trust to be able to ask questions that's going to give you the real. Not just tell you what you want to hear, because you don't want yes people around you. Yeah. And you want people who actually know what they're talking about. And you want to make sure that you understand anything that you're getting into, that you are willing to accept those terms. Like, you need to be able to deliver. if you have to, if you sign a deal and you have these commitments where you don't get to decide whether or not you get to extend the contract, but the label gets to decide, is that something that you're willing to sign off on?
Right.
When you've delivered your first 2 or 3 albums already, and they get to decide whether or not they extend your contract, and you might want to go try somebody else, not because you don't like them, you don't love them, the love is there, but you've grown as an artist and you want to do something different. Do you want to trust that in the beginning of your career to someone that you've never worked with?
Right.
I mean, they're new to you just like you're new to them. So it is important that you have wise counsel around you. So again, kudos to you, for pouring into that young brother and giving them advice.
I feel like we have to as
Absolutely.
a society. Like this. That's why we created this show. Because, like I said, it's impact over metrics. You understand? We're all about giving back, and what we try to do is we try to just give as much, right? Obviously, the information is not going to be perfect, right? But we try to give as much valuable information back to the community so that anybody that is listening to this can get value from it. You know what I mean? And we just try to tell people, and it's you made a very, I'm glad you said that, right? Just like, even though they came to you, it's a brand new relationship. You've never worked with them and they've never worked with you. So it doesn't matter how much business they've done over here. They've never done business with you. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't they might be hugely successful, but you don't know what that business looks like. So when they come to you and they want to do business with you now, one of the main things that we try to push all the time is don't let the glamour or the celebrity, right, or the big name overshadow your common sense, right? So you're like, this person wants to work with me, or this person wants to sign me, and I'm like, yeah, but did you read that contract? Like, did you read that NDA? Like, you might be signing your life away. Like, you might be signing your actual IP away. Like that, bro.
But also to piggyback on what you're saying, self-awareness is key. You know where you are in the negotiation table.
Right.
You know where you are. You know if you have leverage or not.
Right.
You know how hot you are. You know how cold you are.
That's
right? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know if you got 1,000 downloads, you can't be asking for that price.
Right, exactly.
But you got to be willing to risk it at the same time.
That's it. That's where I'm going. That's where we're going with it.
Calculated risk, though. It's got to be a calculated risk.
That's it.
That's why you get an attorney to help you negotiate, because look, again, why do you need a 5 and 7 year term?
Right.
And you've never done business together. Why can't it be 1 or 2 years? Right? Why can't we do a distribution deal first? Let's see how well you can market me out here.
Yeah.
Because why do I? Because if really all I need is marketing, because I'm already making my own money.
Right.
Then why can't we just do that deal? Why can't we do a profit sharing deal?
Right.
Yeah, rev share or something. Yeah.
Why is that the only opportunity, right? So that's why I say, an entertainment lawyer can look at your profile and tell you basically how much leverage you really have, because a lot of times the artists won't know, right? They won't know how much leverage they have, but somebody else that's objective, like an entertainment attorney, can actually take a look at your profile. They can see your imprint. They can see how effective you are on your own. And they can say, okay, well, in this position, this is what the label can best do for you. If you're already somebody out there that has a huge following on your own, then you're not looking for a huge following. You're looking to be able to convert, right? If you already have a large following that is already showing up for you at your shows, then you can probably sell tickets, right? And if you have a track record of that you've been keeping up, like you registered your stuff on bands, on your shows on bands in town and stuff like that, and you already have that data, that definitely puts you in a different position than someone who doesn't. If you are already selling your own merch, right? You already built that brand around your merch and you're selling your merch regularly, then that's on top of you actually booking small shows. You're looking to scale at this point because you're already doing all the things. So you need a label that you can scale with. You don't necessarily need them to help people to know who you are in your market. You want them to know all in these other markets that you aren't in, right? So you might need them for that and that only. if you're someone that they, somebody came across you and nobody really knows you and that type of thing, but they're like, ooh, I love that sound. That's wonderful. I want to be able to, really maximize that sound. And you don't really have anything. You don't have any leverage, right?
That's it.
If it's just that you don't have any leverage, I really want to teach a lot of our musicians to be in a position of power, to have leverage, to be able to build partnerships with labels, or decide if they want to run their own. Right? I want them to understand the business enough to be able to do either one.
Man, we just gotta. It's just with us sometimes as creators, we get so stuck in the creative mode.
Yeah, we do.
And they're stuck, but it's like harnessing that, right?
Yeah. It is, and I mean, and the thing about it is, creatives really don't want to do the business part. But
here it is. I was waiting for you to say it.
Unfortunately,
waiting for you to say it.
Unfortunately, you are a business, and that's the first thing that I would tell any artist is that you are the business. In order for you to do business, you actually have to have a structure. Are you a LLC? Are you a Inc? Which one are you? And what structure are you? And if you don't even know what I'm talking about, then that indicates that you already need to do your homework. Like, who is your PRO? Like, do you have one? Did you sign up yet? Those are very basic things that our artists need to be successful. It's like, a package of things, a little checklist of things that they need to do, right? But they then need to start learning the business that they're in. No one else is going to do that for you. And if you want to be successful in the business and have longevity, you have to understand the business so that you can run your business, right?
Message.
There you go. There you go. I was waiting for it. I could have gave you like 4 in that.
And the reason I jumped in on that, and my cousin knows, we've been doing music for a long time. And one of the number one things I used to say to him, and I'm talking 10, 15 years ago, and I'm like, listen, the music business is 90% business, 10% music.
Yes.
It is 90% business and 10% music. I understand the music. Yeah, that shit is, it don't matter about that. You could be the worst musician in the world and have the greatest business model behind you and be the most successful person in the world. And you could be the best musician, best lyrics, it doesn't matter. If you don't have the business right behind it, you're going nowhere. Right. And am I lying, Jarrett? Or it was verbatim, I used to say that to him because that was something that I learned very early on when I first got into the business about how the business actually works. And it's not just music, it's entertainment. It's art. It doesn't matter. It's business in general, right? Once I truly understood the way business operates, and I understood the asset, the commodity, right? Versus the driving factor to get this commodity to market. And I understood the way that works. Then I understood business. You understand what I'm saying? And I try to like anybody that I run across, I try to tell them like, you have to, even if you don't want to, because everybody can't run a business. Let's be clear, right? Everybody cannot run a business because people are just not business acclimated to, their mind doesn't work in enough organizational structure to run the business. But once again, if you just learn enough, right? Just learn enough, like basic business principles. Then if you get somebody to help you, then you can say, this is what I want. And when they're doing things, it'll register, say, okay, they're on the right path because I know a little bit about this, a little bit about that, and like that, because that way, then it'll help you to grow, and then you can understand what's going on. But if you don't do that, then you know what you do, you put yourself up at the mercy of the business, right?
Yes.
And more often than not, what have we seen, right? And it doesn't matter. At this point, we're not talking culture. We're talking business.
Right.
Black people, white people, green people, orange people, they've all gotten jerked. They've gotten robbed, raped, whatever you want to call it. There is horror stories across the board. Like that. Like that. You know,
that's how you be in your 360.
Listen, before 360s, remember again, like if you just want to talk about our culture, look, TLC is one of the biggest. Remember their story. You understand what I'm saying?
Pulled up to the joint with the with the
RAV4. You understand?
The RAV4. What I RAV4 to push your effing RAV4
pulling up. But again,
not just
TLC, but again, like a lot of our prominent artists,
Icons.
right? A lot of our artists, before the, our rights were what they are now, when they were writing music, right? When they were writing music, never got credit for their writing. Publishing is huge. It's one of the biggest things that people got robbed with. There's a guy, I'm not gonna say his name because it's a lot of scandal. There's a guy right now, same thing, 15, 16 years in the game, right? 15, 16 years in the game, wrote God knows 20, 30 songs, not no credit on any song. Now that add on to the songs that he's actually featured on vocally, he's still not credited with that.
He also have his
How does that happen?
I'll tell you how it happens.
You know how it
You
happens.
don't understand the contract, number one, right? When you don't understand the contract, number one. Two, because you don't understand it, you're not looking for it, right? And the person that knows you're not looking for it compensates you enough to keep you happy.
That's right.
Right? To
Exactly.
keep you
Not
happy.
what you're worth. I love how you said that, to keep you happy, not what
To
you're
keep
worth.
you happy. Absolutely, right. And once again, right? Now, this is public knowledge, referred to the whole Cash Money situation. Almost every artist that came out with their disdain about how they ran their business said the same exact thing. Our publishing. When you ask Juvenile or BG, what was going on, why you wasn't getting money, they said, yo, he gave us cars, he gave us jewelry, and he kept us high because he know we like to use drugs, and we forgot about everything else. We didn't care about nothing else. That's verbatim.
And when you come down, it's like that.
You understand what I'm saying? So again, like, these things are important.
I'm glad you brought that point up. One of the things about Who's Got Next Music is the community that we want to build, because we want people to share best practices with each other. Why do you need to reinvent the wheel? So if I have the artists together and the producers together and they're learning the business together, then they can work together too. So they can also build together. Because what you said that is important that I don't want to skip over is that you need a team, because you really do want the artists to focus on the art, not all the time, because they do need to learn their business, but they need to be able to understand, okay, well, if I need somebody to run my day-to-day, well, what does that person need to be doing? What does the day-to-day mean? What is it that I need them to be doing so I can concentrate on the music? So you want to put the people in place that are willing to do that for you. And in the beginning, a lot of times you can't afford to pay anybody, and you don't want them necessarily use your homeboys because they don't know any more than you. So that means that you got to learn it. And that's what you said. You got to know enough, the basics, so that you can go in and when you are earning money, be able to pay somebody to come in and do those things. Even if it's part-time. I mean, you can have people working and doing things for you part-time. You don't have to have somebody that's full-time all the time. You need a bookkeeper. Like, you need somebody to keep your books, keep you out of tax trouble. So that type of stuff. So, I mean, and that doesn't have to be a full-time role. That can be something where, you have a relationship where they have access to be able to get your financials from your bank accounts and see how you're spending. And y'all having a monthly conversation, about, what needs to be, how you need to be spending your money and things like that. The manager, picking your manager matters a lot. And I'm not saying that homeboys can't do a good job, because a lot of times they're going to advocate for you better than anybody in terms of getting you in a door. But if they don't understand the business, then you're still not going to get what you need. So you need to figure out, well, what is the role of a manager for real? What is their job besides getting you in the door of places that you need to be? What do they do? And how do they get compensated? And, because the thing is, that's your homeboy, but he still got to eat. And so if you don't feed him, he going to take from you eventually. So that's how that generally happens. So you want, because people still got to pay their own bills and stuff. Yeah. So you want to understand, to your point, at a minimum, the basics, so that you can build a team around you that can function and y'all work like a well-oiled machine together, so you can concentrate on the art and understand the business that you're in, and make sure that you are still the leader and the visionary for your business, because it is your business, but you don't have to do the day-to-day operations of it.
Talk about that all the time. Yep, that's real. I was gonna as you was transitioning, like once you got into the game, was there somebody that helped mentor you? I know you was doing due diligence. Was there a woman, like, because you're like in Atlanta, you think like Deb Atney, those type of people are in the industry, things like that. Did somebody give you? Is there one piece of advice that you got that really helped you, become the woman you are and, business manager?
I can say this. I asked a lot of questions of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I have to say that I learned a lot from Shay Lawson. She's an entertainment lawyer. I learned a lot from her. Dina LaPote, learned a lot from her as an attorney. I actually learned a lot from some folks over at QC. I have to give them credit. At the time, I didn't know a lot, and so I asked a lot of questions. They gave a lot of answers.
That's real.
What else? At Capitol Music, I remember having a number of conversations with Ethiopia. So I learned some things from her. Lots of people. I feel like I'm leaving a lot of people out.
Yeah, no, but that's critical. You got to be a sponge, right? As you're learning, like some people just like, did you do? No, you're asking everybody, and it's knowing what to ask or not being afraid to ask, right? Sometimes it's okay not to know it and be like, look, this is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
What should I do?
I mean, it's the truth. I mean, it's a lot of things that I had no idea, what was going on, and I was trying to just learn as much as I possibly could. So, like I mentioned before, just ask a lot of questions. If you don't know something, ask. I mean, the only thing people can do is either give you the answer or not. And I read a lot too, so I have Passive's book. Earlier, it is the starting place. I have a number of books actually. I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I follow a lot of people on social media. Wendy Day is hilarious, but she still drops gems. Shanti Das, a lot of people that are still they're giving a lot of information out for free, and have made themselves available to be able to answer questions if you need that one-on-one. Like I said, in Atlanta, you're really only 1 or 2 people removed from anybody you want to talk to. So that's the truth.
But remember also, and I gotta stress this enough, right? Listen, if you bring somebody on and you entrust a job to somebody, then you got to kind of step back and let them do the job that you want them to do. One of the biggest problems that artists and management have all the time is the artist wants to be the manager. That's the problem, right? The artist wants to manage his own career, and it's like, then what did you bring me on for?
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm the artist. Yes, you're the artist. You're creating the tangible. The art, but clearly you don't understand the rest of this, so you need to let me show you how to navigate this. But therein lies a huge issue between the artist relinquishing control and having faith and trust in the manager that, listen, I know what you want, but let me guide you on how to get what you want the right way. You understand? Because
trust is earned, I think. And so I think, to your point, you definitely don't want to be trying to do your job and somebody else's job. Let the person do their job. I hate micromanaging. So you definitely want your manager to go off and do it. You want them to thrive. You shouldn't have to, you be watching over them every second. Right. So how do you combat that? You come up with what are your goals?
Right.
What is it that you're trying to achieve? And to me, I'm a SMART goals person. So, it has to be something that's measurable, it has to be tangible, something attainable, all of those things. So if it is, then we can write it down, right? And then we can actually measure that along the way. So if you know that, let's say you're just starting out and just from the bare minimum, and you got somebody that says that they're rocking with you, you're not paying them because you don't have any money at this point. So they're rocking with you, and they're wanting to manage you. And you're saying, okay, well, in order to manage me, these are some things that I want to do. I want to start being able to get booked get booked shows, right? That may not be paid or unpaid. I want to be able to be in front of people. That might be something that you want to do. Or I want to have my business structure set up. Things that are real tangible. You can set up what those things are that you want. To start seeing if somebody can deliver on those things first. And once they start showing you that they can deliver on those things, then you can trust them with bigger things. So I think that with any type of management relationship, there needs to be some very tangible things that are delivered in order for folks to be able to build the trust and be able to grow together. If you're somebody that's seasoned, then you already know what the job is. So you don't need to be hiring anybody that you don't trust, right? And you're going with somebody who has a track record at this point. If you're somebody who's seasoned, but our emerging artists, they need to learn this. So they need to find out, like I said before, what is the job and role of a manager? Because a lot of times, they wear so many hats, and you don't even know all the things that they're doing for you. Figure out what a real manager does and what a successful one looks like, so that you are clear and you actually appreciate that person taking all that time to work for you. Because I'm sorry, a good manager, they're never paid enough.
No. You know why? Because they almost give their life to the artist. Their life revolves around the artist. And I have a lot of issues with a lot of artists about that, because they're, oh, my manager this, my manager that. I'm like, first of all, do you even understand what it takes to be a manager? Like, your manager manages everybody. He not only manages you, but anything that has to do with your career, the booking, the venues, the promoters, he manages everybody.
Everything.
Yeah, so it's like, like, sit down. Like, sit down, man. Like, let them do their job. PR, whatever you need, it's the manager's job to get it. Yeah, whatever you need, right? PR person, radio, and it doesn't matter. Anything you need, your manager is your go-to person. So for a person to be able to, technically, he's your chief executive officer. He runs your staff. So so you know what I mean. So if you don't allow your manager to be a true manager, then again, like right off the back, you're cutting your legs off from up under you. You know what I mean? Like, and again, everybody can't be a great manager. Again, right? Everybody can't be a great manager. So what I recommend to people is, like you said, if you're going to sign somebody, give them a 6 month to a year contract, right? Give them certain things that you want to see them accomplish, and then you can extend the relationship further. Like you said, if you did a good job and you want to keep going, that's fine. You don't got to lock into no 3-4 years. But if you want somebody to do the job, you got to step back, have faith. Remember, you came to them, right? They didn't come to you. A lot of times you went to them, so let them do their job. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a great message.
Message.
Get out of your own way.
Out your own way.
Facts.
Yeah, get out your own way. And you talked about the gatekeepers, right? And me and my cousin talk about this a lot. And we talk about just transparency. I want to talk to you about transparency, right? Because it doesn't matter what industry you're going into. If you're new to the industry and you don't have what we consider to be a standard, right? Something written saying you should get paid this, then you run into well, how much do you want? Right? How much you're worth, right? And herein lies the problem, right? You don't want to undersell yourself. You don't want to oversell yourself. But in an industry like right now, where we talk about entertainment has shifted so much now because of social media, because of downloads and streaming, not physical, CDs and things of that nature, right? Across the board now, excuse me, NFTs now, everything now is digital. Sometimes there is no standard to set your worth at. And because people are gatekeeping, and you'll see some people that are successful at doing something like influencers, something where they're not going to tell you, well, this is what I get paid for a post, or this is what I get paid. This in lies the problem, where we're not disseminating information amongst the culture, where now we're still back to square one, because now when somebody wants to deal with us, we're not getting our true value.
Yeah, we're building it from the bottom.
How are we getting around that?
Well, you have to, in situations like that, if you don't know the information, then you got to test the market.
Right.
You have to test the market.
Take the loss. You have to take the loss.
And look, fail fast. You fail fast.
Yeah.
Right. You pick yourself up and you keep going, because sometimes people aren't gonna answer your questions, right? Sometimes people aren't gonna be willing to share. If you get people who are willing to share, great. But if you don't, that's not gonna stop you, right? At least you shouldn't allow that to stop you. Go figure it out. Like, you try something and see how it works. Something in marketing that they do all the time that happens is A/B testing. They'll put out the same message 2 different ways and see which one resonates with my audience, right? So you have to sometimes do things like that. Test your theory. Your theory may be completely wrong, but it might be right.
Right.
You never know. So you have to have a mindset of, I'm gonna win. Like, I'm going to win, and I'm gonna figure out how to win, and I'm going to to get the people that I need to help me, and I'm going to make sure that I'm moving forward, not accepting no as an answer. And learning your business is one of the biggest ways that you're going to set yourself apart anyway, because we talked about a lot of people not doing that. Being able to find a manager that you trust is another win for you, because then that's one less thing that you have to worry about, and you can make sure the operations of your business is still happening. Um, there, you got to be willing to take risk in this business. Unfortunately, this is not a salary job, so you have to be willing to take risks, and you need to calculate those risks. What is your risk tolerance? Somebody, may have to couch surf, and they're okay with that. And if that's not your stilo, then you have to figure out, well, okay, well, I'm gonna have to work this part-time job because I gotta have something, and I'm gonna do this music part-time. You figure out what works for you. No one can actually define that kind of thing for you.
Message.
She ain't never lying. That's so real. You know what's something we like to ask too, Mama Love? We have a mama I made it moment. That's what we asked a lot of our guests. And I'm curious for you, what was that moment for you? Like, were you in a spot and you're next, like we had Babs on 2 weeks ago. She was next to her mama I made it moment was being in the studio with Mary J. Blige, right? And we did the clip with the real love beat, and it was really cool. Like, so do you have a moment like that stands out to you? And you was like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. This is dope.
Oh wow! Actually, I've had many of those moments because my beginnings were so humble that I'm grateful for so many things that happened along the way. I remember sitting in my first house poor, but it was my house and my name, and it was raining outside, and I didn't know when I was going to get furniture in there, but I didn't care. That was one of those
the first house.
That first house moment.
Right.
Then when another moment was, I built the house of my dreams.
Okay.
Well, we built, my husband and I built the house of my dreams, and I figured everything out in it, everything. We ended up getting rid of that house, and oh my God, I was so emotionally tied to it. It was a shame. But it was the best business decision for our family to be able to put us in a position of power. And so we ended up buying an investment property, moving into that, and ended up short selling our house because the market had tanked and there were so many foreclosures in our neighborhood.
Right.
We owed more than the house was worth, so we had to get out of it. Business decision. So, and I have to credit my husband in that because I was like, no, I don't want to move. We can afford to stay here. He was like, we leaving. We leaving over because, our neighbor's house is worth half our house, half of what we're paying for. No, absolutely not. We had to go. Absolutely. And then another moment where I could say that I felt like I made it is when I early retired a year and some change ago.
Right.
There you go. Hold on. We're gonna give you a couple of horns for that.
It was like, okay, I can get paid and not have to work another day of my life, and that was a wonderful thing. And then of course there are moments, of course, with my famous son, but I really don't want to, really tell his story. I'll let him tell his own.
Of course.
Listen. We here for your story.
Oh my God, that's my baby. That's that is now a global superstar. I am proud of him, and I'm proud of his success, and he works extremely hard. So I will say that. So those were moments that I made it. My oldest son, who actually did a 15-year bid. Honestly, it was one of the hardest times in our life, but I see him thriving now. Nice. And that is a very proud moment for me. He's also he is a super dad. Like he's a first-time parent, only kid he has. And he is doing exceptionally well with his son. And I see that and I'm like, oh, thank God. He's getting a piece of life that some people never get to experience, and he's leaning all the way in. So I'm really proud of him for that.
That's dope.
I'm proud of my family. Like I all of them have something, that I'm proud of them. They're very successful in their own right. My next oldest son is a children's book author, and he's got 14 books out right now, animating most of them. Yep, and he's getting his PhD on May 11th. So we're really
What we told? Wait, hold on. Those get horns. Those get horns.
She said this is a success factory over here. Good shit. You holler at me.
I am truly grateful. We're so blessed. My middle son is the superstar son. So then we go down the line. Our oldest daughter, she just bought her first investment property, and so that's she's on the path now.
Wow.
Our youngest daughter bought her house recently, and then our youngest son he graduated and now he's saving for his house. He wants to buy an investment property and live on one side and rent the other. So he's going into property management too. So all of them are doing positive things. Kaylin actually was the only one out of the 6 that actually went into IT like me. At least I got one that was a technologist, and he works for Microsoft. That was the company that was my dream company to work for, and he's there. So look, I'm living vicariously through him and the opportunity he has over there. Shout out to Daryl Booker, who hired him and is doing a great job for the culture. So y'all look him up in your free time. He is actually running things over at the Microsoft Foundation. It is incredible work that they're doing to upskill our community, starting with the kids. So
gotta get out of here, Horn. Gotta get out of Horn. That's super dope, man.
I love it. For us, me and Jarrett are so family oriented. So a story like that resonates with us. That's the story we want to hear right there.
Facts.
It's about how Mama Love started out with 2, ended up with 6, and through even though adversity in life threw certain things at her, not only was she successful, but she instilled a certain foundation within her children to make her children successful. That's the
I timed that perfectly. You said that's the message.
Because that is true generational wealth building. That is what we're trying to teach. That's the message. That's what this platform is for right here, is to increase the amount of people that break the generational mold of poverty, that you can now turn around and say, we're not first time homeowners, we're 3rd generation homeowners, we're 3rd generation, business owners now. This is what we're trying to do. All the rest of that shit doesn't matter. I'm being honest with you. It doesn't matter to us. It just really doesn't matter, because it doesn't help our culture move forward.
And
that's
right.
Let me tell you, I married well. My husband was an educator for 18 years. He retired and became a business owner. But when he was teaching, he taught social studies and economics. So he understands, financial literacy very well. And so with his experience and my experience, both of us, have great education. He built a really strong business model that I can follow, right? He's an entrepreneur. He took risks. And so this is scary to me. This is the first time I'm not getting a regular paycheck every 2 weeks. Like, what is happening?
Right.
So it's like, oh, okay, I got to go out and get it, right? So even though I have my retirement pay and all those types of things, and I'm not taking money from my famous son in order to build this business, I am bootstrapping it to make sure that I can do this, because I don't know many Black women who build apps and do things like this. So, I'm determined to be successful in this space. And so I just wanted to, shout out my partner that, together we are teaching our children, our blended family, how to not make the mistakes that we did early on in our careers, and how to be financially secure in their futures. And, they're young people, so they're taking it in. They listen. They might not always do what we have advised, but at least they're listening, and that when they're ready, they'll apply some other things that we've shared. But I'm really proud of all of them in their individual spaces and what they've accomplished so far, and look forward to seeing what they're going to do in the future, especially for our grandchildren. So.
Yeah, that's what it's about, man. You have such a great, your energy, Queen. Like, I just love hearing that story. I love the fact that you like you said, you're bootstrapping, you're starting something in technology, you understand that there's so little of us in that space, right? Like, and people don't really understand how hard and difficult it is and how much money and investment you really need to build something like an app. Because you go to one wrong developer, you mess up on something, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about time, energy, effort. This is your IP. This is, this is your name going, and so you want it to be perfect, and like just going through that. Right, like, and just like you said, Stan. I would love to introduce you to Angel too. We got to introduce you to Angel. Yes.
Yeah, I saw your promo for her. I was like, oh, I need to know her.
Yes, no, we already because that's something that we do too, Queen. Like we anybody we spoken to on the show is you have access to now. So if anybody that we speak to, we have a family, we're building a community. We want people to say, hey, look, and we do this immediately. Actually, shout out to Dante. Dante Simpson was our guest of this season, our first guest, and you liked a clip of one of his episodes. And then I saw you. I'm like, what? Mama said, no, we would love to have you on. And then we started the process. And shout out to Jessica as well for being so accommodating. She was amazing to work with to help set this up. Thank you to the entire team, like Dante, and just yourself, Queen. Because, like, to hear your story, you remind me of my mama. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up and down. Like, I gave my mom, and she, like I said, when I told you off camera, when I was 14, 15 years old, she was putting up money, writing my teacher's notes, telling them I could go to the studio and do stuff like that. Was fueling my dreams, fueling my passion. Still to this day, fueling the passion. She probably on the live right now. Don't even know how to comment or something. I love you, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Just don't come on the live in the nightgown.
Yeah, right?
The live, mama.
She actually did that. That was crazy.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, no, we was catching a fish. We was on a boat in Grenada, and we sitting there fishing, and we 4 hours catching 1,000-pound marlin, and I'm on the live. Cuzzo sitting talking to me. She gets on the live in a nightgown like this. Don't even know she's on it. I'm like, Mama, if you don't get off the damn boat, I got an audience. I'm building a brand out this mug. Mama.
No,
it's our job to embarrass y'all. You just accept it. It's our job.
Let me tell you,
we love it.
You see, we are leading by example, and you see what we are doing here is we're building community, right? Because we're not gatekeeping, right? So we meant what we said, right? You might, we're almost at our 100th episode, but now you have access to, and we didn't say any person that we have brought on this show that you might want to connect to or whatever. All you got to do is let us know, and we will make the introduction. Plain and simple. There's no nothing. There's no fees behind it. There's no nothing. You want to meet this person? No problem. We set it up and then we step away. You understand? Because we believe in building relationships. We don't believe in gatekeeping. We believe in letting that information flow, because that's the only way that we're going to grow as a community. That's it.
And that's it.
You know what I mean?
And that's our way of us showing and betting on ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You might have something that you have going, right? It has nothing to do with what we do. And you might link up with, let's say, Angels, and you guys can do something. Why should we stand in the way of that? And this happens a lot, right? People will stand in the way, like, you have nothing to do with what I'm doing. And still you won't plug me in? No, because they don't want to see you shine like, oh, you're already winning. And if I give you this, you're going to win even more. I haven't won yet. It's not your time to win.
You winning more than them. That's what they were afraid of. Yeah. Gatekeepers are afraid of you winning more than them. There's enough for everybody to eat. You heard me shout out today, right? And technically we're going to be in the same space doing some of the same things, right? But I'm not worried because there's enough to go around. I want to see him succeed. He wants to see me succeed. And we're both going to do just that. So there's no reason to gatekeep people. It really isn't. So thank you all for that.
Yeah, thank you, Queen. And if you also do in the private chat, Queen, you put the link to the platform. So if we got artists that come on, stuff like that, we could promote the platform. We can let people know what they got access to, stuff like that.
I ain't gonna lie. Once she said I'm bootstrapping it, my response was,
you have my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
Like,
we Timberland up over here.
Over here, Mama. I'm like, you talking our language right now. Like,
we Timberland up, man.
I want to just reiterate this to our listeners, and we say it all the time. Stop being afraid to fail. Stop being afraid to fail. This new generation, we're not downplaying that you guys are not talented and all that. What we're trying to tell you guys is you don't want to fail. You guys are the IG generation, the instant gratification. You guys don't want to do the work. You don't want to failure, right? You don't want to go through the failures, but you don't understand that the failures are what get you ready for the success. That the failures are what your
That's it.
success is based off of.
Builds
If you've
character.
never failed, then you don't know what failure is. You don't really know what success is. Yeah, you might make it, but the moment you hit a roadblock or the moment you hit one of those serious bumps, now you're in trouble because now you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? So like, yeah.
That is so very true. I mean, but I mean, a lot of that is the culture of social media. They make
Yeah.
everybody seem like everything is successful, everything is great, everything is wonderful all the time. It's not, and everything is also not acceptable. And so
Yeah.
if you so the cancel culture is crazy. So
Yeah.
you don't want to fail in front of people because they bully you online and point out your failure so much. So I get it why they don't want to fail, but that's where that self-confidence has to come in, where you have to know yourself better than anybody else, not be defined by the social media, not be defined by somebody else's opinion. You know you. And if you know you and you know your capability, then okay, I failed at that, let me pivot and go do something else. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means that you failed at that thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. And know the difference. You cannot let other people define you. And in so many ways, unfortunately, our young people think that their online personality is who they are. No, that is a reflection of who you are, or what part of you want to share with people. But you are who you are when you're walking around talking and dealing with people every day. That's who
it.
you are. That's your character is you when you're looking in the mirror at yourself, right? So, and it's just you. And as long as you don't lose sight of who you are, you can fail multiple times. I'm still learning, failing. As a technologist, I had this whole, career, and I'm like, okay, I know IT. I'm great at this. I'm going to be wonderful. I spent all this doggone money, and then I realized
Got the ring.
Right.
there's nobody to vet these resumes for me. I got to do it myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our department is screening these people like,
Yeah.
wait, I don't do it myself.
Yeah.
And by the way, what questions am I allowed to ask and not be in trouble with the government for EEOC violations or something? I don't know. It's not personal. Like I know how to manage teams that were doing this, and now it's like, oh wait, this is my money. This, and so
different story when it's your money. Yeah.
Then that's just sunk cost. And
Yeah.
I was well down the road, and I have to shout out Jason Johnson, who tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey sis, I love what you're doing. The idea is wonderful, but I think you need to talk to somebody over here in marketing about what you're doing, because a lot of part of what you're talking about doing is going to require marketing." I don't know anything about marketing.
Right.
I didn't at the time, right? And I was like, I didn't see the value in that. And then when I saw the price tag of what it is, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to spend this money on this. I think I want to go build this feature over here. Come to find out, I'm glad I listened to him, like Chad, like somebody you trust. I trusted him. I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I spent the money. Best money I spent.
It
I
is.
paused my whole development because I needed to pivot and do something else, because I was leaving certain things out that were important, because I wasn't thinking that way. I'm thinking about this great app, and I wasn't thinking about these other things that I needed to be able to measure what I was doing, the metrics that I needed to have in there. I wasn't thinking about the customer experience. And I'm so far down the road at this point where I'm gonna have to roll it out as it is, make some money, go back and revise some other things based on that one pause, and going and getting that advice, because there are several things that I couldn't go back and do because I was too far down the road. So it's like, okay, wise counsel, that I'm glad I had it. Number two, I failed at that, out of the gate, jumping out there, just thinking I knew because I had done this for so long, but I was using other people's resources. This time is my own. And so some of the things that I took for granted in my corporate space, it came back to haunt me. So I certainly failed in that measure, in that manner, but I learned from it, and I moved right on forward, because we're rolling out this spring. We're having our first contest, the Soul and Flow. We're going to do the R&B genre first, and so I look forward to getting some great music out of that. So if there are any R&B producers that you all know, please send them our way. We're looking for them right now, so that when we launch this contest, they'll be able to partner with these R&B artists and create an original song that they don't have to get cleared. So we're really, really excited about this opportunity. But yeah, fail fast. keep moving though.
Yeah, we know a couple producers that we could actually send that information to.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that been doing this for a long time.
Okay.
So I might sing "Pick Up the Pieces." I might sing it. I said, "Pick up the pieces."
I'm telling you, listen, Latabia, when we're gonna link you over Angel, and
Yes,
she
please.
just released her app, but now she just also released the 2.0 version, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a perfect testament to what you're talking about, right? Sometimes you just have to give it your best. It's never gonna be perfect. It always can be improved on. Release
Yeah.
it as get feedback from the community, get feedback
Yeah.
from your audience, right? And then use that feedback to make the improvements to better the experience. Because I don't know an app that doesn't update. Like I'm telling, like I don't know an app that does not update. I don't care what company you're with, right? There's always updates, there's always bug fixes, right? There's always new features added. So if you think about it, like you're never gonna have a perfect product, but what you can do is you can get a very well-rounded product, start with that, and then just keep refining it. Why not?
Oh, absolutely. Look, shout out to the students over at AUC that we did a beta test to do exactly that. So we did that test run at the tail end of last year. We actually had a winner of our first contest, Nisi Poo. Yes, he's an artist out of Chicago. That's a student over at Clark Atlanta, and they gave me feedback that I also took to improve the product too. So to your point, it is an ongoing process. It certainly is. So yeah, for sure.
We're definitely gonna look out for it. And if there's any way we can support you, let us know, Queen. We love to support. If you're doing any events in New York City, you got a show that's rocking that will help you promote and do the marketing with you. We're here, but we just really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. There was a lot of gems in this entire episode. I feel like we definitely, got to know you better, which is an honor. And I know the listeners are like, they got to know your story. So we really appreciate that. Straight up.
Thank you for having me. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah,
will do.
And before you go, please just let the fans know, let the listeners know, if anybody wants to get in contact with you, if anybody wants
anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody wants to follow up on you, where they can find you at.
Well, you can find me at Who's Got Next Music on Instagram and also on TikTok. You can find me personally at Latabia W on Instagram, but definitely follow Who's Got Next accounts because we are announcing our first official contest soon. Again, it's Soul and Flow. It's going to be an R&B contest. We're looking for the best and brightest emerging artists to participate. I'm also on LinkedIn. Again, Who's Got Next? You can find us across all platforms that way. And I am looking forward to hearing from your fans and hopefully getting some artists and producers to participate.
She said the best and the brightest. Goddamn it! Don't come with your shower song shit.
Here and now, I promise to.
She said the best and the brightest. Hey, hold on, mama. We gotta put this disclaimer out. She said the best and the brightest. Goddamn it! Right? Please. Don't come with the half nasal snoring voice.
Let me tell you, the fans are gonna look. If you come and if you don't have a fan base, you can't get in. And but if you have a bot fan base, they can't vote. So you definitely want to come with a track record of having some success. So
that's it. That's why building your brand. Back to that, y'all. Build your brand. You don't need a label. It's good to have their support, but if you can build it on your own, it's a lot harder, but it's way more rewarding at the end. This is what we're doing, guys. Same thing, right? We're putting in the IP. We're about to be on 100 episodes, y'all. 2 years straight of doing this, right? For this is our first year doing 2 episodes a week. And like, man, we put it all, we sacrifice. And Mama Love, we could be in construction jobs. I was working in corporate America. I told you I was at, the couple of companies I was at. We could be making a lot of money doing other things, but guess what? We're going to do this for a culture. We put our own money into this. We built our agency. We're being successful in that. And that's what we're going to do. So we're not just going to talk at y'all and give y'all information. You see us do it in real time, y'all. So we want y'all to see it and that we're growing and y'all see the journey, y'all see the ascent. And this is what we're doing it for. So we appreciate people like you, Mama Love, to come on and give us that motivation. You said a couple of gems today. I'm like, yeah, I gotta implement it. Gotta do that. You know what I'm saying?
I got a question before you leave. We talked about a lot of things. But I always like to ask this question too. Like, what do you like to do? Because you're wearing a lot. You're wearing a lot, and you got a big family, and obviously people are leaning on you to be this pillar,
the strength, yeah.
Right. So what does Mama Love like to do to relax? Like, what are some of the things that you actually like to do to release pressure? Because everybody has to have like a pressure release, right? What's some of the things that you like to do to actually relax and sometimes just be like, look, everybody,
leave me. Leave me.
And this is what I'm doing. Like, what do you like to do to kind of relax?
The spa.
The spa?
I love the spa. It is my favorite thing to do. And I love to travel. So I love the spa, I love to travel. And then if I can't do those two things, then just to be able to walk outside, not in the gym, but outside is some time for me to kind of clear my head. But my most favorite thing in the world, my husband will tell you, is to go to a spa. I don't go out of the country and not go to a spa. I have to every time. My favorite one is St. Regis here in Atlanta. In I guess that's Buckhead or Midtown, not really sure, but it is that is one of my places. I love it there.
Love it.
I mean, I've never really heard anybody say anything bad about a good spa. You know what I'm saying? Like, who don't like going to get good massage, good facial, and get good pampering? What's wrong with that? You know, champagne.
Just the quiet. the peacefulness of it all. You turn your phone off and you just relax. And it's hard for me to relax, to be honest. I'm wound pretty tight, and I have a lot of things going on, but in the foundation as well as this business that I started at the same time. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but yeah, here we are. And so I, it's hard to kind of like breathe. So a spa kind of forces you to do it, and I love taking that time for myself to be able to do something like that.
Super dope. If you're in New York in the summertime, there's a dope one in Roosevelt Island called QC's, overlooking like the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, and all that outdoor pool. QC, yeah, you never heard of it?
No, I said you like. I'm not a fan of it. Okay,
it was good. Shit, it was dope to be. Shit, it was relaxing. I had the view, and it had the camp. We went to the glamping thing. That's why the glamping.
Okay, got you. Okay,
the glamping joint was right next to it, so we had the tent set up, the heated tent, all that overlooking the water. Oh, mama, it was fire.
I thought you were gonna say the one down in Soho. They got a couple down in Soho, like Vada and all that. Those are really nice. I thought you were gonna say one of those.
Nah, because they didn't pay us. So when they do pay us, I will say their name when they pay us. QC pay us. Hold on. Where's my DM? Where's my thing? We gotta pay some bills.
We gotta pay some bills. We'll be right back.
We talk about a lot of things, and one thing that we cannot leave out is self-care, right? Working hard, starting businesses, supporting your family, all that is fun and dandy, but you can't do any of that if you're not supporting yourself, right? The real wealth is not money, it's health. It's health. Health, right? Health is wealth, right? Doesn't matter what you're worth. If you're not healthy here, right? If you're not healthy here, if that body and that mind also, it's also your mind, right? If you don't have a clear mind and you're able to breathe, you know what I mean? Then what is anything, right? Peace of mind is priceless, right? So through everything that we try to achieve, it is important to make sure we set that time out for ourselves for that wellness. Absolutely,
that's it, man.
We love that, man. What we got coming up next?
We got Zoe Taylor on Tuesday. This queen has a series called Juicy. It has 6 million views over on YouTube. She's exploding. She writes, directs, shoots, and stars in the show. She is amazing. Under 30, Black queen, and we are going to celebrate her on the show Tuesday. Absolutely. And then Thursday's another lady I want to introduce you to, Queen, Natalia Williams. She's the Chief Technology Officer at Hootsuite. Yes. So she's created a few technology platforms. She's a queen right in your area, right in Atlanta.
Latabia, can you do us a favor? Can you put your number in the private chat? That way we can create a group chat.
We can make those chats for you.
We can that way we'll create a group chat between me, you, and Jarrett, and then it'll be easier for us to just send these connections for introduce you to these people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is March. We are celebrating strong women all month long. And that's what we're doing because, again, our women do not get enough acknowledgement, and they don't get enough praise as they should. And we're going to lead by example. So this is March. This is Women's Month. More than the title, we're going to bring you nothing but amazing.
That's it.
You understand?
That's it. That's what we're doing, y'all. So we be back next week. Latabia Queen, thank you so much for kicking off this special Women's Month episode for us, man. It was an honor and a pleasure. And your family now with us. We here. So we appreciate your time.
And listen, if you ever in New York, we
got to do it.
Don't you dare not offer this to Mama Love. Don't you dare.
I know we're not going nowhere.
Where's your manners? If you are ever in New York and you would like to link up, we've met a lot of our guests in person. We've done walkthroughs with our guests. We've done brunches and dinners and events with our guests. If you're ever in New York and you'd like to, meet us in person, we would love to, come to where you are, meet up somewhere and show you the town or something like that, break bread and, just have a good time. That's what we're about, building a community, because we don't want this to be our last time speaking to you. We want this to be our first time. We would like to foster the relationship and build upon it. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And thank you for the invitation. I accept. So when I'm in New York, I'll make sure to reach out.
All right, there it is.
That's it. And that's it. We're going to see y'all next week, Queen. We'll see y'all. Thank you for another episode of More Than Entitled. We out here, baby.